day is called a Holocaust. It did take place. Why? It's not too difficult for you to understand why. Because they are pursuing the same policy that the Ottomans had pursued before the regime change. What was that policy? Deliberate antagonism of Rome. So that the hatred that the Orthodox Christians have for Islam would intensify. That's why you had the Holocaust of the Armenians in must have been around 1914, 15, somewhere around there. Okay? By 1917, the writing was on the wall for two countries. The writing was on the wall for the Ottoman Empire, that they were going to be defeated. They had made an alliance with Germany because there was nothing else that they could do. Because they had been checkmated. That's what Britain and France wanted. We wanted you to make an alliance with Germany. The writing was on the wall for the Ottoman Empire and for Germany. You were losing the war. All that the Zionists needed to win the war was to get the United States of America to enter the war. The fellow who gave us the motor car, what was his name? Henry? You've forgotten his name? You still have Ford motor cars around. FOR did a fix and repair, something with that. Henry Ford did everything he could possibly do to prevent the United States from entering the war. And when he lost the battle, he had the money to bring together the research scholars and to be able to document how they succeeded. And he produced a book called The International Jew, in 4 volumes, big, in which he explains and reveals what they did, the Zionists did, to get the United States into the war. Most Americans have not read that book. It's banned in the United States. As soon as the United States entered into the war, it was over. But before that, before the United States entered into the war, Germany had the upper hand. And Britain and France very cunningly ensured that Russia would bear the brunt of the fighting from 1914 to 1916. Millions of Russians were killed. Russia had to abandon Moscow, I believe. And the Russian economy was in shambles. And the Russians were suffering, and this is precisely what the British wanted. Oh, we are allies. No. What Britain and France did was to say to Russia in 1907, or maybe shortly after that if you join with us in an alliance, when we defeat the sick man of Europe, we promise you Constantinople. And the Russians fell for the bait. I went to Russia and warned them, don't fall for the bait a second time. They're coming to you with another bait now. If we win the war, we offer you Constantinople. But they were not sincere. In the same way that they were not sincere with the Arabs when they were fomenting this Arab revolt to get your independence from the Turks. We promise you, if you will assist us in defeating the Ottoman Empire, we promise you independence. There will be one Arab nation at the end of the war, one Arab nation, and the king of the Arabs would be Hussein bin Ali. You believe the British and the French? Are you so stupid? So on the one hand, they were offering Russia Constantinople, and you are our ally. But behind Russia's back, they were stabbing Russia in the back. How did they do it? The strategy was to get Russia to take the brunt of the fighting, to get Russia to take the brunt of those who were being killed in the war, to get the Russian people to suffer and suffer and suffer, and then to foment revolt in Russia. And the Russian Jews now play a critical role in bringing about a revolution. The timing of the revolution is immaculate. Immaculate. The Russian troops are approaching Constantinople. Constantinople is within reach of the Russians. And this is the prize which has been offered to them by Britain and France. But Britain and France do not want Russia to take control of Constantinople. No. Why? Because tomorrow there's going to be a state of Israel. And we do not trust Russia. Because Russia is not Western Christian, it's Eastern Christian. And we do not want Russian warships to be able to pass through the Bosphorus to get into the Mediterranean Sea. So we want to control the Bosphorus, and we must therefore control Constantinople. Under no condition must Constantinople ever get outside of our grasp or reach. And so when the Russian troops were within grasp of Constantinople, then the Russian Jews acted in October 1917. Because there is popular discontent in Russia over the war. Because the Russian troops are suffering in the war. Because workers are suffering in the war. The economy is in shambles. There are riots and demonstrations all over Russia. The Tsar Nicholas can't handle it. So now they succeed, the Russian Jews, amongst them is Lenin. And they overthrow the Russian monarchy. It will not be long again before they overthrow another monarchy. This monarchy had lasted for a few hundred years, the Russian monarchy. But that monarchy is 4,000 years old. And they're going to overthrow that one as well. Which one am I talking about? Come on, somebody. China. China. The Chinese emperor. They're 4,000 years old of emperors. The Tsar Nicholas and his entire family are assassinated, killed. And the Zionists take over Moscow, October 1917. The first thing that they do is to withdraw Russia from the war. Why? So that the Russian troops cannot proceed further to take Constantinople, which is what Christian Russia wants. Because Bolsheviks don't care for religion. No. What they want is a godless atheist state, and they get it in 1922 when the Soviet Union is created as a Zionist creation, the Soviet Union. So the Zionists are achieving monumental successes. I mean, there was a revolution in Constantinople in 1908, which overthrew the Ottoman regime, which was based on the Sharia. And now you have a secular regime in Constantinople. And now look at what they do a few years later in Moscow. This is the Orthodox Church, the Christian Orthodox Church. This is Rome. So Islam is now being ruled by secular Turks, young Turks in Constantinople. And Rome is now being ruled by Jews, Russian Jews, godless Russian Jews, who take a lot from Karl Marx, the German Karl Marx, who was a Jew as well. The events which have been unfolding since the birth, since the discovery of the body of Fir'aun, show a certain pattern. And what we are doing is connecting the dots that were never connected before. This is the first time. We are connecting it from the perspective of Islamic eschatology. The British and the French decide to launch an attack on the Ottoman Empire and to land a few 100,000 troops in a place called Gallipoli. The history of that war, the true history, is still to be written, I believe. But they maneuver, and at the end of it, Mustafa Kemal defeats them very conveniently. And Mustafa Kemal now emerges as the hero of all the Turks.